The morning started the way most tournament mornings start. Early light over the course. The kind of golden, low-angled sun that makes every blade of grass look like it was placed there deliberately. Grounds crew still finishing their work. Players warming up in their own private universes. Earbuds in. Routines locked. Faces unreadable. There was nothing in the air to warn you. No omen. No whisper of what was coming. The leaderboard looked predictable. The usual names clustered near the top. A couple of surprise contenders lurking just within reach. And then there was him. He'd come into this round quietly. Third round pressure. A number that kept him in the conversation but didn't make him the story. He'd played well enough, but not in the kind of way that makes announcers reach for metaphors. He was steady, professional, invisible in the best possible way. His caddy, someone who's walked this game with him through 14 years, 3 injuries, and one very public collapse at a major he doesn't like to talk about, said later that something felt different in the warm-up. Not better, not worse, just different. He was in his head, the caddy told a reporter quietly, hours after it was all over. And usually, that's a problem. But today I think that's exactly where he needed to be. Drop a comment. Have you ever gone into something knowing it could all go wrong, and done it anyway? Because that's exactly where he was standing. The first 12 holes unfolded like a chess game being played by 2 people who both know they're being watched. Every decision calculated. Every risk measured twice. He birdied the 4th. Bogeyed the 7th with a grimace he swallowed before it fully formed. Made par look effortless on the stretch between 9 and 11. But the course wasn't finished with him. Hole 13. A par 4 that lives in local caddying legend for all the wrong reasons. The green tilts away from you. The wind doesn't behave the way physics suggests it should. And there's a bunker, a single, almost offensively positioned bunker, that has eaten the ambitions of better players than him on better days. His tee shot drifted, just slightly, enough to make the caddy's jaw tighten, enough to shift the crowd from passive appreciation to a very specific kind of attention, the attention you give a tightrope walker when they wobble. He walked to the ball without looking at anyone. Assessed. Took one practice swing. Then another. What happened next split the crowd instantly. Some people will tell you it was brilliant. Others will tell you it was reckless, that a safer layup would have kept him in the tournament, would have preserved what he'd built over 63 patient holes. That going for the green from that lie, in that wind, at that moment in the round, was the kind of decision that ends careers. He went for it. This is where it gets complicated, because here's the question nobody can agree on. Was it courage, or was it desperation? What do you think he was feeling in that moment? The ball launched. The crowd's breath launched with it. It climbed into that unreliable wind. For a moment, a long, agonizing moment, it looked perfect. It looked like the kind of shot you build highlight reels around. And then the wind shifted. The ball didn't land on the green. It didn't even land near the green. It found the rough, deep, unforgiving rough, just short of the bunker, in a position that made the broadcast team go very quiet before one of them, almost reluctantly, said, "That is not a good lie." He stood over the ball for 43 seconds. Broadcast counted it. 43 seconds of a man deciding who he is. What followed was golf at its most human. And by human, I mean painful. A recovery shot that came up short. A chip that refused to grab the green the way he needed. A putt that circled the cup, circled it with what felt like deliberate cruelty, and stayed out. Triple bogey. 3 shots. Gone. Just like that. The leaderboard math did what leaderboard math does. It recalculated, redistributed, and quietly moved his name into territory he hadn't occupied in years. The gallery shifted. Not cruelly. Just honestly. The way crowds do when the narrative changes in front of them. He walked to the next tee box without speaking. His caddy tried once, a hand on the shoulder, something low and private, and he shook his head just once. The universal signal for, not now. Give me the silence. I need the silence. And in the broadcast booth, someone said the thing everyone was thinking. There's no coming back from this. Not today. Not with what's left on the card. If this story is landing somewhere in your chest right now, if you know what it feels like to watch something you've worked for slip away in a single moment, this one's for you. You already know what to do. But they were wrong. Or rather, they were wrong about what he was capable of in the silence. Hole 14 changed everything. Nobody can fully explain what happened in the 30 seconds before he stepped up to that tee. His caddy would later describe it as watching a switch flip, but that's too mechanical for what actually happened. It was less a switch and more a surrender. Not to failure, to presence, to the idea that the scorecard was already what it was, and the only thing left was to play golf. Real golf. Pure golf. The kind nobody plays when the stakes are this high, because this kind of golf requires you to stop caring about what it means and just feel where the ball needs to go. The drive on 14 was the best shot he had hit all season. It wasn't just the distance. It wasn't just the shape. It was the sound, that specific crack that makes everyone in a 50-meter radius look up from their phones, from their programs, from their conversations. The kind of sound that says, pay attention. Something real just happened. He birdied 14. He eagled 15 with a chip-in that the greenside camera caught from an angle that made it look almost fictional. The ball curling across the slope and disappearing into the cup, while the crowd released a sound that started as a gasp and ended as a roar. He parred 16 without drama, and on 17. A hole that had humiliated him in a previous round 2 years ago, a hole he has spoken about in interviews with a particular kind of restrained anger. He stood over his approach shot and knocked it to within 3 feet of the pin. Made the putt without hesitating. By the time he reached 18, the leaderboard had done something unexpected. The players ahead of him had struggled. Winds had picked up. Conditions had turned. And his run of 3 birdies and an eagle had pushed him, improbably, almost impossibly, back into contention. Not winning contention. Not cut the trophy contention. But the kind of contention that forces people to revise the story they'd already decided to tell. His final putt on 18, for par, for dignity, for the right to walk off that course with his head at a particular angle, dropped cleanly. He stepped back. His caddy came in. And there, in front of cameras that had been politely documenting his collapse an hour earlier, something passed between them that neither would be able to properly describe to reporters afterward. Later, in the media area, someone asked him what happened out there. What happened between the triple bogey and what followed? He thought about it for a long time. Then he said, I stopped trying to save the round, and I started just playing it. 14 words. The whole thing in 14 words. And that's the part that stays with you. Long after the leaderboard resets, long after the scores are filed and the course is quiet again. Because golf, at its absolute core, is not about the card. It's about what you do in the silence between who you were and who you're about to become. And today, on this course, one man answered that question in a way nobody expected. Not even him.